So the seniors then head onto the circuit for their final heat of the day here in Spain in what are now very wet conditions, but they'll do their best to once again provide the action as the senior class tends to do time and time again. The way the grid lines up then for that final heat of the day is going to be as follows. It's going to see Zumba Kovacs to start from pole position, where he's been for the majority of the day. Alongside him will be that of Felix Varga, the Belgian racer in kart 220. Then back on row number 2 we have the Finn, which is Laurie Lepper, and the Brit Axel Charpentier. They are 3rd and 4th on the grid. Then back to row number 3, we've got Tamino Bergmeyer and Tommy Preining, who has suffered a few blows today, but he's there 6th on the grid. Row number 4 is headed by Jonathan Hoggard, the man who sits at the minute the best placed position to get himself on pole for the pre-final. He's got Carlos Saville Martin alongside the Spaniard. Row 5 then sees Jordan Brown-Nutley with Max Timmermans. Back to row number 6 we have Harrison Thomas and Clayton Ravenscroft. Row 7 headed by Luke Ibanez, another of the Spaniards, with Oscar Paloma Ortez alongside. Then to row number 8 we have Alessandro Massimo Trombelli with Zabe Bolzar. Row number 9, Juho Parvonen with Kamil Donex. Row number 10, we have the likes of Daniel Matacek and Hans Morin. On to row number 11 is going to be Ida Cohen with Patrick Rundqvist, the Swede, with us once again this year. Then to row number 12 is going to be Baptiste Moulin and Scott Simmons. Row 13 is headed by Joe Phillips, looking to go higher than 17th place on this occasion. Every race he seemed to improve on his position. He's got Arzemi Kamenuk for company alongside. Then back onto row number 14 is going to be Alex Araya with Jason Lockwood. Then to row number 15 is going to be Max Pilka with Frank Laverne. Row 16 is headed by Mario Novak with Joey Vorters. And row 17, the final row of this 34 grid, is going to be Mikkel Max with Dajus Dabezinskas to round out the runners for the senior class. Very well represented here this weekend, which is great to see, and so much talent within the field as well. We're looking out the window and the rain has got heavier, the wind has picked up. It's going to become very, very hard to see what goes on out there on track because the spray is going to be kicked up as well. But luckily our cameras are picking up most of the action. We've got some tremendous cameramen out there once again with us this year, making sure they get the best shots on circuit, and to keep everyone at home or wherever you may be around the world watching the coverage on Telemundi Media once again this year. So thanks very much, guys, for braving the weather and making sure we get the best pictures possible. There is one car I can see on track that has come to a halt, whether that's from this race or a previous race, not too sure, but try and pick up if we've lost anyone once the race gets underway. So here we go then, final bit of weaving to be done by all the drivers. They work their way off the back straight. It's time now to pick your winner and pick the one who's going to make the best through the treacherous conditions down at turn number 1. They're going to try and be as cautious as they can, but once that adrenaline sets in, it does change your mindset just slightly. But let's see who can get this final heat win for the seniors here today. At the minute, as I said, it's Jonathan Hoggard with provisional pole, with his best results being a win and a 5th place. Here they come then through the chicane on towards the start finish line. Lights are red, which go out now, and away we go with the start of this one. Zumba Kovac's not the best of starts. Laurie Lepper's going to jump up alongside, down the inside line he goes. He's going to get the lead of the race. Everyone very close to the white line in towards the first corner. A few run wide towards the front, but they managed to keep it on the black stuff pretty much there as they go up in towards the chicane at turn number 3. A few out braking themselves and nearly causing a few collisions there, and there is a collision middle of the pack. 218 is the one that dives down the inside line and collects a couple of drivers at the same time there, which is not too handy. So back on the way they go now as they work their way through the left-handers at turn 6 and 7. Looks like Laurie Lepper was still the man out front as they left us, but of course, as we said, it's going to be very tricky to pick up the positions and the carts and the colours. I think Laurie Lepper now, in fact, is down to 2nd place. That could be Felix Varga, who's come through into the lead of the race there, kart 220. Yes, it is. So Felix Varga, great start from the outside. He now heads the field. Laurie Lepper sits 2nd. There is Jonathan Hoggard, great start in these wet conditions. He's out slightly wide there, but just manages to get the door shut as he pulls himself back to the inside line on the run down towards turn number 12 they go. So out front, as we said, is going to be Felix Varga in kart 220. Just about to see them coming through the chicane as they work their way over the curves. There's Hoggard. There's also in the mix 229, which is the car of Max Timmermans. Max doing very well in these wet conditions from where was 10th on the grid. So he's now up inside the top 4 places. Luke Ibanez is behind him 5th. Jordan Brown-Nutley's had a good start, along with Harrison Thomas as well. So really good racing out there on track. But there is our leader, Felix Varga. The ones we lost on that first lap were Axel Charpentier, who was involved in some dramas, and also Mario Novak has not come through as well. The one that caused the accident, I think, was Artzemi Kamenuk in kart 218. He was the one that dived down the inside at the chicane at turn number 3, but that's now all done and dusted, and they can continue on with the race ahead of them. On towards the short back straight we go once more then. That is the fight for what's going to be third place at the minute. Everyone diving down the inside line to try and get their way through. One of them does get through, which is Max Timmermans. Max is now up into third place. Luke Ibanez trying to get through as well in cart 224. Jonathan Hoggard trying his best to defend and attack at the same time. And watch out now for Jordan Brown-Nutley, who's coming to the mix in 6th place. So Jordan's now a hassling man to try and get onto terms with the top 5 places. Off the back straight they come then, down through the chicane for the second time of asking, and this is a battle to watch out for. From third on backwards, top 2 have pretty much sorted themselves out because they are now separated by 1.2 seconds apiece. Very equidistant amongst the top 3 places as of now. But it's Max Timmermans we need to watch out for, and Jonathan Hoggard as well. They are there in 3rd and 4th places, turning their way through the chicane at turn number 3. Then they work their way through the right-hander at turn 4, and there's a slight move there being made, or trying to be made, then down the inside line from, I think that's possibly Jonathan Hoggard, or is he under attack? He is under attack from Luke Ibanez there. So Luke is trying to get through. Jonathan's trying to defend as much as possible. Jordan Brown-Nutley still sits 6th. 7th place is going to be Tommy Pryning. Carlos Saville Martin is the best of anyone through Sector 1. So watch out for cart 221. Scott Simmons is then in 9th place. And 10th place is going to be Camille Donex, who's doing a grand job. He's made up 8 places from his starting grid. So it just shows who does well in the wet conditions and who does start to suffer. One of those that has suffered from pole position, by the way, Zumba Kovacs. He's gone from 1st down to 15th place. So whether there was a problem, or whether he got embroiled in someone else's mess, or whether he just doesn't like these wet conditions, not too sure. But he's dropped himself right down the order, and that's not going to put him in good stead for the starting grid for tomorrow's pre-final. But we'll come back to that shortly as the leaders go through. Felix Varga still heads the field. 2nd place is Laurie Lepper. 3rd place then for Max Timmermans, just going out of shot there. There is Jonathan Hoggard in 4th place. That is our 5th place man, which is Luke Ibanez in cart 224. And there we can see our race leader now, Felix Varga, working his way through the melee of the spray. Of course, he'll have the best vantage point of anyone. He'll have no one kicking up the spray in front of him. He'll just get on with the job in hand. He'll pull away and try and keep this gap as consistent as possible, which is always a positive thing for the race leader. Carlos Saville Martin, as we said, was going quick in Sector 1, has now just recorded the quickest lap of anyone, a 1:10.780. So watch out for Carlos, who is currently down in 8th position, is Carlos. So he could be another factor towards the end of this one. Not quite a half race distance. Of course, it's going to be a lot longer than the previous heats have had today with the weather conditions out there on track. So they're just going to have to bide their time. It's going to be a little bit testing as well. But there goes our leader through in towards turn number 12. There's the fight for 3rd, which is very, very close between Max Timmermans, Jonathan Hoggard and Luke Ibanez. Sector 1 was purple a few minutes ago from Jordan Brown-Nutley. That's now all changed because Jonathan Hoggard has just gone and recorded the quickest lap of anyone. He sits there in cart 300. In fact, he's under attack by the looks of it from... No, he's got past. In fact, Max Timmermans. So there's been a change for 3rd place while all this has been going on. So Jonathan Hoggard now with the quickest lap, a 1:10.275. He's starting to catch up with the top 2 as well. But Felix Varga has responded. Luke Ibanez has also responded through Sector 1. They're going quicker and quicker, which is amazing to think in these conditions. But it may just mean to us that the rain has stopped for now and the track conditions are not really, well, they are improving, and a slight dry line is just starting to be found now by everyone out there on circuit. I can see, in fact, from where I'm looking, that the line that the drivers are using is completely pretty much clear, and everything offline is still very shimmery and very wet at this stage. So it does just show that there is a line starting to be formed, which gives your car that little bit of extra turnover and makes it quicker as well. So that's favouring a few people, mainly Luke Ibanez at the minute in sectors 1 and 2. Here comes our leader though, Felix Varga through the chicane. Not being hounded by anyone, but the man behind is now Laurie Lepper being caught by Jonathan Hoggard. So 2nd and 3rd are together. 4th and 5th are also pretty much nose to tail between Max Timmermans and Luke Ibanez. They head down towards the first corner. Very wide lines being taken, but as we said, that's pretty much the racing line you want to take. Jonathan Hoggard got all over the curve there, almost lost the rear end as the cart start to twitch there on the backside, but managed to hold it. May have just lost a few tenths of a second to the 2nd place man, which is Laurie Lepper. New quickest lap has just been recorded. As you saw there on your screen, it's come from our race leader, Felix Varga, a 1:10.232. Only fractionally quicker, but he is the quickest man out there for the time being as he works his way in towards the left and right handers at turn 9 and 10. I can tell you for 2nd place, which you can see now, Jonathan Hoggard just trying his best to take those tighter lines, but they don't seem to be favouring him too much. He's just losing the ground once more to Laurie Lepper as they go onto the back straight. All very circumspect to the minute. Nothing happening amongst our front runners, so it might be the best of times now just to give you a rundown, as there's a move being made there between two of the carts. It may have been Tamino Bergmeyer working his way through. Let's have a look as those two carts venture back into our sight, and it was a change for Camille Donix and Scott Simmons. They swapped over 9th and 10th places. In terms of the running order then, at the end of lap number 6, well, it's Felix Varga that leads the way. 2nd place is Laurie Lepper. 3rd place then is Jonathan Hoggard. 4th place sees the cart of Max Timmermans. 5th place for Luke Ibanez. 6th place is 2014 junior champion Tommy Preining. 7th place is Jordan Brown-Nutley. 8th place for Carlos Saville Martin. 9th place for Camille Donix. And 10th place for Scott Simmons. The Brit doing fairly well at the minute, has moved up 14 places from his starting grid in this 3rd and final heat. So a great job he is doing. Meantime, for 2nd place, we've just had the change, by the way. Jonathan Hoggard has now got his way through ahead of Laurie Lepper. So the change for 2nd has happened. He's been trying for the last couple of laps as Jonathan, but now the cracker's finally just opened, and Laurie Lepper has had to give way to our new 2nd place man. 4th place still there with him is Max Timmermans. Not showing the best of pace in the dry conditions, but the wet conditions he's done much, much better. So a great job here from Max there. Behind him is, as we said, Tommy Preining and Jordan Brown-Nutley, still fighting over what's going to be 5th, 6th and 7th places, because Luke Ibanez is within the mix as well as they turn their way on towards the left-hander at turn 3, that of the leaders. Felix Varga now has opened up a gap of 1.8 seconds. There is Laurie Lepper, who is now under attack by the looks of it from, yes, Max Timmermans. So Max Timmermans is the next man to try and get his way through. He's right onto the coattails now of Laurie Lepper as they turn their way through the turn 7. And again, as we said, this is where the speed starts to build quicker and quicker. No let off for anyone here. You have to be one of the faint hearts out there. So down towards the end of the short back straight they go. Laurie Lepper still holds on to 3rd for now, but Max Timmermans trying his best to get through, and they're now being joined by the next two in line, which is Tommy Preining and also Luke Ibanez, the Spanish driver. Look at Tommy there, working really hard at the wheel to try and turn the cart as close to the apex as possible. He's done well to keep in a straight line. There comes our leader then through the chicane once more. 8 laps to be completed. On to lap number 9 we now head. And Felix Varga, as we said, not really being challenged at all here, but the gap has come down on that previous lap by over half a second. So Jonathan Hoggard now brings the gap between the top two right down to 1.2 seconds. So the battle is on here. Jonathan Hoggard wants the pole position, which he's going to get anyway if he stays in 2nd place. Laurie Lepper wants pole as well, but he's just a little bit further back in 3rd place, and will have to give way by the looks of it to Jonathan Hoggard. Meantime, the man down in 7th position, Jordan Brown-Nutley, has just done the quickest lap of anyone, which you just saw, 109.746. So again, they've gone under the 1 minute 10 mark for now. In towards the left-hander at turn 9, much, much sharper than it looks there, as down the inside tries to go Tommy Preining on Max Timmermans, who is now under attack from Luke Ibanez, who dives to the inside line. They are nose to tail, almost side by side for a brief spell. Luke Ibanez fights back to the inside of Tommy Preining. What a move there through turn 11. You very rarely get a job done there, but due to the slightly wideness of Tommy Preining, it does mean... Oh, and off into the barrier has gone one of our front runners. That was... is that Tommy who's gone off the track? Well, Laurie Lepper is still there. Who else have we lost in the mix? That's why I'm sure that was Tommy Preining we just lost. Yes, it was. Tommy Preining just got a little bit too cautious through that right-hander, or not enough cautious to be fair, and he's absolutely gutted with himself. The 2014 junior champion has lost it in the tyre wall down towards the penultimate corner on what was the penultimate lap of the race, having one of his best runs so far here today. It's all gone horribly wrong for Tommy Preining, who now is a retirement from this one. So Felix Varga continues to lead on now this last lap of the race. 2nd place for Jonathan Hoggard, has just lost ground to the leader once more there. He was doing well, but then on that last lap he lost a good half a second or so. So Jonathan Hoggard doesn't have a chance of winning by the looks of it, with now just 3 corners remaining. There will be yellow flashing lights down off the back straight because of Tommy Preining's car, who he's out the car absolutely fine, but he, of course, will be very gutted with what's just happened and where the car has ended up, which means there's going to be a lot of work for the team to do overnight to get that repaired and ready for tomorrow's pre-final. But into the final corner, Felix Varga looking for what will be a win here on the Second day of action for the seniors. Through they come. Felix Varga makes it 3 different winners from the seniors here at the Valencia track. He comes through in the end 1.6 seconds ahead of Jonathan Hoggard. Max Timmermans, what a great end to the day for him. Gets himself 3rd place, just ahead of Laurie Lepper, who lost out on that last lap. And then Jordan Brown-Nutley comes through in 5th place. But get this, he did the quickest lap of anyone on that last lap, a 109.650. So Jordan Brown-Nutley did not back off whatsoever. So well done to the Brit there. Just to take a little bit away from today, a quickest lap of the race for him. But it was Felix Varga, as we said. 3 different winners from the senior class. It was Jonathan Hoggard in Heat 1, Tamino Bergmeyer in Heat number 2, and it's going to be Felix Varga in Heat number 3. For Varga Mark Racing, he wins ahead of Jonathan Hoggard for KR Sport. 3rd place then for Max Timmermans for KMS Europe. 4th place is Laurie Lepper. 5th place for Jordan Brown-Nutley. Then we see Luke Ibanez and Carlos Savio-Martin, the 2 Spaniards together. Camille Donex was next up in 8th place. Scott Simmons through in 9th. And Max Bilker to round out your top 10 and made up 19 places in those wet conditions. What a ride that was for Max Bilker. Behind the top 10, it was Tamino Bergmeyer, the man who started 5th on the grid and already a race winner today. Jason Lockwood was 12th. Ida Cohen next up. Then Oscar Ploma Ortez, Alessandro Massimo Trombelli. Daniel Machacek was next up in 16th place. Alex Araya 17th. Clayton Ravenscroft in 18th. Zumba Kovacs, a terrible race.